All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're starting season 2024/2025. And yeah, let's just get into it. We're going to start with La Liga. Who's the face of La Liga? Let's start with that. I think the face of La Liga right now, it has to be Kylian Mbappe, right? He's here. He's one of the best players in the world right now. And just he's at the best club in the world right now. And we're all just kind of like salivating on to see what kind of performance he's going to give us. And really, he looks extremely confident because think about it. Real Madrid basically has three Ballon d'Or nominees, right? They have Bellingham, they have Vinicius, and now Kylian Mbappe. And Rodri's not bad, okay? There's just nothing bad about this. So, obviously, they're the scariest team this season. They're the team that are going to be the most criticized. And Kylian Mbappe even made the future criticism even harsher because on his presentation, he was basically like, yeah, man, I'm about to score 50 goals. He basically said it. He said he's going to score 50 goals this season. And they played their first game today, and they looked pretty good. You know, the lineup, everybody thought it was going to be very sketchy because who are they going to play? They had so many people up front over there. But they sold their striker, okay? So that opened up for one of these guys. And now it's just going to be about the matter of, like, who's going to get the most playing time, right? Cruz is gone, so the passing is not there. You know, Calavinga is still out. So you got Tchouaméni in the middle with Bellingham and Valverde. That's pretty solid. Like that, I mean, you heard the names, and then in front of them you have Vinicius, Mbappe, and Rodri. Now the main problem people were pointing out, which I agree as well, that Vinicius and Mbappe, really their strong suit is to the left. You know what I mean? So you could just see that as the game went on, they all would just kind of go to one side. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, but the first 15 minutes of that game, I mean, they looked amazing. They're literally trying to pass all the way into the goal. You know what I mean? So I imagine these guys have a plan and they want to make this season very memorable, not just for their fans, but honestly for them, like personal career-wise. They're playing against some of the best players on the planet. Why not make a history out of it, right? So I'm pretty excited to see what these guys can do. I'm just worried about the middle than even the back. The back, I'm not even worried that much about the back, to be honest with you. Because Madrid has always been known to have the back under control. You get what I'm saying? But again, I would like to see how this substitute situation works. Because they also have this, two stars, you know what I mean? Actually, I would say 3 stars. Brahim Diaz is there. Endrick is there. And they also have the other kid, is it Harda? He's there. I mean, these are all very talented players that gonna want to have some time to keep developing, right? So how is that gonna work? So that's gonna be the most interesting for me as the season went on. But speaking on how I think they're gonna do in the tournaments they're gonna play in, I expect them to win every tournament they're in. There's absolutely no excuse. Okay? I expect them to win the Champions League this year as well. I expect them to win La Liga, and I also expect them to win Copa del Rey. There's absolutely no excuse for them not to win this. I think if they don't win all of it, come on, what are we doing? We gotta make history. Football has to get better, and I expect better from these players. Okay, all right, let's go to Barcelona. It seems like this is the season where I don't know. We didn't really invest that much, right? We kind of knew our team. It's just all these injuries that need to come back. Like right now, we still have Ansu Fati is injured, De Jong is injured. Gavi, news coming out, Gavi might be ready at the end of the season. What? So Gavi is also out, and then we have Araujo is still out as well. Luckily, Pedri is back, and he got some playing time in this game as well. The surprising thing about the starting lineup for Barcelona's first game was that the midfield, they literally had the 2 Marcos in there, and these are like a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, okay? The good thing about it that is they're from Barcelona B team, so they've been in Barcelona for a while. They're coming from the system, so they're continuing on the record they had from last year, just bringing in youth players. It's getting to the point that like they're so focused on the youth team that Gundogan now is saying, "I gotta leave." I mean, it seems like you guys have whole different plans, and the fact that he didn't even start on the lineup for the first game of the season, he might go to Saudi or he might go to Turkey. Joe Maria is like, "Yo, I would do anything to have Gundogan." And I'm sure him hearing this news about how Barcelona's more focused on the youth, This he must be licking his chops. That's all I can say. I personally want Gundogan to stay for at least a season more, man. You know what I mean? We need his experience. And now that we had our biggest transfer, our only transfer, Daniel Olmo, and Daniel Olmo basically plays the same position as Pedri, as Gundogan as well. You know what I mean? Since Gavi is not going to be around for a while, I don't think this is a bad signing at all. People are complaining about Barcelona fans wise that we need a central midfielder and we need like a winger. We need like a real winger who goes at players. And that was going to be Nico Williams, but Nico Williams decided to stay. Okay? I mean, the saga of Nico Williams, him saying this is my dream club and all that, some way, somehow, Atletico Bilbao convinced him to stay. And I say, good for him, right? I mean, this is a place he's used to. He can still create more history. And Barcelona's going to be around. He can spend another 5 years at this club, and he can still go to Barcelona later on. So he has uber amount of time. I would like to see how he turns out. But yeah, so now we couldn't get him. So we have Fernando Torres. And I think everybody is pretty much done with Fernando Torres. I think I'm also done with Fernando Torres. But the thing is, we don't have people. Ansu Fati, maybe he comes back. Is Ansu Fati ever going to be above average player anymore? Because now he's an average player in my opinion. Whenever De Jong comes back, I would also like to see how that midfield switches a little bit. But the two Marcos, I mean, they were fine. You know what I mean? There were some small mistakes, but you expect that. I really like to see more of Fermin Lopez. Like I really like him as a player. You know, I hope he gets more time this season. Other than that, I mean, so far so good. We won our first game, and I say we won convincingly. To be honest, Lamar, you know, this is a huge season for him. He has this German coach who obviously seems like he's also a fan of him, and he knows the potential this kid has. So I'm hoping he nurtures him and just gets him to get into the second level. You know, I hope he is the coach for him what Pep was for Lionel Messi. Just teach him about what it takes to get to the next level of football with his talent, right? And another thing for Lamar is like you're hearing a bunch of news about his dad. You know, his dad just got stabbed like a few times. He was in the hospital with a critical condition. Now he's fine. He's getting better. But, dude, this is the second time his dad has been on the news, okay? If it was last year or the year before that, about him throwing a fit at people. So this one, they arrested him for that. Like, so my advice to him is, like, to the father, I mean, you know, I thought it was a little bit off when I heard him make that comment about that picture that came out with Lamar and Messi, where Messi has, like, Lamar's a baby's in a bath and then Messi's like washing him or something. I mean, it sounds weird when you say it like that, but either way, what we interpret that was like he's been touched by the football gods, right? And they just pass it on the torch. And this dude's like, well, how do you know that Lamar wasn't the one who had the godly touch to Messi? And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You don't make that kind of comment, Brand. Messi has proven it. You know, it's evidence. Lamar is not evidence at all. Lamar can get hurt next season and he could be done. And none of this would matter anymore. Okay? So someone makes comments like that. Doesn't seem like he would make other good choices in other, you know, department of life. And so I would only say, dude, your son is literally next generational talent. You shouldn't be on the news at all. He should be on the news. You shouldn't overshadow your son. That's all I'm saying. It's not gonna be good for him. And it's not going to be good for you either. It just looks silly, honestly. Anyway, huge season for Lamar. You know, I'm hoping. I mean, he literally got his first assist, right? So he's already off to the races, I would say. And then the other team is Atletico Madrid. With Atletico Madrid this season, they're also looking fire. They might be looking better than us. Psych. No. But they're looking pretty good. You know, they just got Julia Almirola from, what's the name? From Manchester City, and apparently him and Pep kind of got a little tiff because when he was away for the Olympic, and they asked him like, "Hey, what's up? When are you gonna leave Manchester City?" And he's like, "I don't know, maybe soon. Who knows?" He says, "Who knows?" And Pep, they asked him about that. He's like, "Oh, the guy's saying who knows? I mean, isn't he supposed to come back and be cool?" And Pep is like, hey man, if he wants to leave, he can leave. Basically, that's what he says. He's like, I don't got time for this. If players want to leave, they can leave. And dude's like, okay, cool, I'll leave. And he just left. Now he's at Atletico. And the reason why he was there was a spot available for him was that Morata apparently one day the players came to the locker room before preseason and they just see Morata like packing his stuff, and they're like, "Yo, what's going on?" And Morata's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to AC Milan tomorrow." So he kind of, the way they making it seem like is like he blindsided Atletico Madrid. So Atletico had to go real fast, get like a world class striker, because I'm sure Sanimoni had a big plans for next season. So they made a lot of good transfer. They're looking for good, but are they going to be good enough to where they can compete for La Liga? I guess no. Maybe I shouldn't say that. They would. No. I'm going to say no. I just don't see. I don't see it yet. But we'll revisit at the middle of the season. You know what I mean? Winter time. But as of right now, the players they got, I still don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Now I'm hearing that Joe Felix is going to leave, and Chelsea's going to do a swap. Gallagher is going to come to La Liga. Gallagher, I just don't think Gallagher is good enough. He's an average player, but for some reason, Atletico Madrid thinks they can do something about this. So, I mean, I would love to see what he can do. I hope he evolves. Maybe Sanimoni can really transform as a player. That would be good to see. But the deal hasn't happened yet. I think they're still talking about it. But I'm sure Joe Felix is very happy to go back to Chelsea. Because I don't think this dude is ever going to be staying at the Atletico. Him and Sanimoni relationship is broken, and I don't think it's going to be fixed. I'm sure even some of the other players in the locker room. But for some reason, they extended his contract, though, which I didn't understand that. They still got Koke. Griezmann is there. They still have one of the best goalkeeper, Oblak. You know what I mean? And they got this, Roger DePaul is still there. I mean, they still have a lot of great talent. It's going to be very interesting to see how they perform. I'm assuming there's going to be a third. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to lie to you. The way they're stacked and everything, I think it's going to go Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico. But I'm hoping I'm wrong that, obviously Barcelona wins it all. But just looking in from talent to talent, that's how I would rate it. I would say Real Madrid has the best talent, and then it would be Barcelona, and then it would be Atletico. All right, that being said, let's go to the Premier League. And then, people talk about Farmers League this, Farmers League that. Is the Premier League not a Farmers League at this point? And I'm only saying it in the sense that in the last 7 years, who won the Premier League? I bet you it's the same team, right? And do we think this season is also going to be different? Do we think this season anybody is going to take the crown away from Manchester City? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So the opening game happened, and the first game they had, Manchester City, was Chelsea. Okay, Chelsea's another team, as we all know. They just have. I mean, Todd Bowley, I guess, has unlimited money to spend, and he doesn't care how he spends it. That's what it looks like, because they just extended. What is it? Cole Palmer's contract, where I think they already had him for 6 years or something like that, maybe 8 years, and they're like, let's add another 2 on that. And some people are making the argument saying that they did that because so they can raise his salary, so he'll be more tempted to stay. And they're trying to get him to be like, Hazard, just kind of keep him as long as possible. They see his potential. But I'm like, bro, you already had him for 6 years. Like, what are you? Anyway, no one understands what Chelsea's doing at all. But they played, you're expecting they have high hopes for this season because they just got a new coach, right? And the lineup looks as disappointing as ever. Actually, before we even get to that for Chelsea, so they bought Sterling and signed him for 6 years from Manchester City. And I guess they thought Sterling was going to impact them on defeating Manchester City or something like that. But since Sterling came to Chelsea, I would like to say he has not performed the level they were expecting. And to be real with you, it's not just him, it's everybody. The vibe at this club is just, there's no vibe. We don't even know what kind of vibe there's going on, okay? So the teams are not settled. The lineup is still not settled. I mean, for God's sake, Lukaku's still in the bankroll. So like, they're not fully together yet. You get what I'm saying? Rick James hurt again. Jackson, I think, is an average striker. I do not think he's a world class striker. Nkunke, I mean, he's good. He's also so Cole Palmer and Nkunke and Fernandez is the best they have. And these guys are not. I mean, Cole Palmer is a world class, but it's still not like sealed in the books, right? Same with all these other three. So, and they're going against a team like, look how stacked Manchester City is in this lineup. They had Silva, De Bruyne, and Haaland. I mean, come on. Doke, obviously, they put him on the other side. And Manchester City did only one transfer this summer. And the one they did was what? Savinho from La Liga dude, the wings are just scary. Like both of the wings, these are fast, dribbling players, and they just couldn't handle them. And so I'm gonna say another season that Manchester City is gonna win the whole thing. I mean, there's just no competition. So before the this game went on, the kickoff, I guess Sterling's people who represent him. Apparently now we have his footballers representative saying something. So a person who represented Sterling went out and made a statement, and this is what they said: Sterling is in a contract to Chelsea Football Club for the next 3 years. He returned to England 2 weeks early to conduct individual training and has had a positive preseason under the new coach, who has developed a good working relationship with. He is committed as ever to deliver at the highest level for Chelsea FC and the fans, who he holds in high regard. And given his inclusion in official club pre-match material last week, our expectation was that Sterling would be involved in this week's fixture in some capacity. As a camp, we have always had positive dialogue with and assurance from Chelsea FC in relation to Sterling's future at the club. So we look forward to gaining clarity on the situation. Until then, we will continue to support Sterling's desire to start the new season positively. Now, obviously, this was, to be honest with you, this makes sense. You know, Sterling, before he got here, the last his last two seasons at Manchester City, I mean, he was getting all the attention when it comes to just, even when he was playing England at that 2 years. He was getting all sponsors. I'm sure his team grew large and they hire a whole just PR team. And this is them talking. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're like, yo, we're not trying to lose money here, okay? We're all about trying to make money over here. And because this is silly. This is something he can directly just went to the coach and been like, hey, I'm not happy with this. And the coach, I'm sure, would have told him exactly the reason why he wasn't on there. For him to go to his publisher, or for his publisher to decide to put out this kind of statement, it makes him look terrible. I'm just going to say that. I mean, it makes him look like he's butthurt. It makes him look like, you know, a player who's great, who's not accepting that he's not as good as he used to be. That's kind of what it looks like. Either way, Manchester City is going to win the Premier League as well. Let's go back to that. Now, let's talk about who's going to come in second and third and fourth. So I think Liverpool and Arsenal are contenders for second place. And do we think Arsenal is going to have... This is the last time. This is the season where they need to win the Premier League. They need to find a way, some way, somehow, to try to win the Premier League. You know, okay? I mean, it seems like Saka, his first game outing, he looked great. I mean, he looked like he started with a bang, as you want him to start, right? So, that being said, do I think they're going to come in second next season? Yeah, I don't see why they shouldn't come second. Liverpool, on the other hand, they have a new coach. I mean, they got new players, but they look solid. On the preseason, they look absolutely solid. Mo Salah just became the only player in the Premier League's history to consistently score opening games, right? No one has scored more opening games in the Premier League than Mo Salah. That's a good thing. That means he's still got the power. You still got that one of the biggest weapons in the Premier League is Mo Salah. So we'll see what Liverpool can do with that, but I just generally don't think they are going to be either win the league or even be in second place. I don't see that happening. Okay, let's go to, what is his name? Manchester United. How are they going to look? They just bought another striker. You know what I mean? Call him the new Vinicius Roy. That's what they're calling him, the new Vinicius Roy. So we shall see how this kid turns out. But again, I mean, in the last 3 seasons, they had like a player from another country who's like a breakout striker. They will buy him. They already went through, this is the second Netherlands striker they're going through. And they don't really tend to last, right? So we'll see how this guy performs. But do I think Manchester United is going to finish top 4 this season? I'm going to say I don't know. And I'm only saying I don't know because a lot of people say to win a trophy, you got to have the best defense. And I think Manchester United just made that mark. They just bought 3 new defenders. And one of them is a great defender, as we all know. They got Delight. They got Maserati. And they also worked together when he was at Ajax. So this is great. I mean, he's talking about how my great time was with this coach. And now, you know, to be reunited with him again, both of these players. So I think something special could happen for Manchester United this season, but I still think it's too early to call it. But the defense moves were, I mean, they could have the best defense this season. They have that potential. And then when we go to League All, you know, is PSG looking great? I don't know if you watched the game. I think the fact that Kylian Mbappe is not there anymore, Dembele is going to be the main guy, and you have players who had an outstanding season last year can really build on that this season. So I mean, the first game they destroyed their opposition, but I don't know if it's too early to say anything, but I'm gonna say they're obviously gonna win Liga, but obviously for them that's not important. Their whole goal is to win the Champion League. Are they good enough to win the Champion League? That I'm gonna say no. Yeah, that's about it. And then going to Syria, we had some good games. You know what I mean? It's at this point it used to be Juve or Inter Milan, but now it's AC Milan or Inter Milan. That's it. That's the only two I can really. When you think about top four teams in each league, you're thinking about how they're going to compete in the Champion League, and I think these two teams are the only Italian team I can think about that are really going to compete in the Champion League, and they're both looking good. They both really got some great players. AC Milan especially is looking good this year. Morata, I mean, is there. You know what I mean? And Leon, this also is his breakout season. All everybody's talking about all these other stars, but no one's paying attention to him. He needs to get our attention. That's all I'm gonna say to that. So, and then Inter Milan is looking fire. Okay, same kind of situation I would say. And going to the Bundesliga, Bayern, right? New coach, new players, new defense back. Okay, so how are they gonna do this year? I still don't even know. I really don't know. I think they're gonna win the Bundesliga, but I'm not sure how they're gonna perform in the Champions League, right? So we shall see. We should just wait and see. And then second place, I expect Bayern Leverkusen, right? I mean, they haven't lost anybody. They have the same team. So can they make the same run? No, they're not gonna make the same run. But can they at least keep their trophy? Only time will tell. Anyway, that's all I got.